Hey there, I'm JB and welcome to Orange County Kingdom. Today seems to be a beautiful day to do another fun little project into the village, and I do have an idea. Now, the one thing that is very easy to forget besides making restaurants and stores and bakeries and which basically is a store, and I was thinking, let's make a housing street right down here. Let's make like because we need to use the center for shoppings, restaurants, and that good stuff, while the people live more towards the outside. Oh, basically, they don't have like stores at the bottom or ground floor. While here in the middle, they do have stores and everything at the ground floor, and then on top of it, they would have the living space, right? Now, I am going to need to be careful, however, because the first thing that I need to do is make the street, then make a couple of houses, and then keep in mind that we are going to need to have a corner building right down in here, right? And I think the corner building needs to be the first store from when you come from that area down here, right? Have like a beautiful store with a very nice display in it, so I need to be careful not to build it too close to this side. So I think the best thing to do for right now is first clean up the area and make some street spacing. Street spacing, huh? I'm not really sure, what I'm saying sometimes, but I know what I mean at least. I meant to make some space for the street and keep that in mind, once we're building houses. So I got a bit of an idea what I exactly want to do. And like I've been saying, street spacing. So it's just gonna be 3 of these large blocks, right? And I can imagine like a horse and wagon is almost about this size, and people need to pass each other a little bit like that. And in the future, very far future, this street will be turned into a street for cars. There will be maybe like a small sidewalk here, left and right. And I'm also going to keep that in mind, like here, the same space. Now, down here will be the corner store, right? The corner store will be 2 of these white and will be 2 of these white in that direction. Maybe have another thingy down here. Then down here, I want to make like an alleyway, and this alleyway goes behind from where the houses are, so people can also exit the buildings on the back side. There might be like a playground for children. There might be another street over there or there. Just to see. I don't want to go too nuts yet, but you get the idea maybe what I would like to do with this area. So then I'm also going to keep in mind, I'm making everything a little bit modular, right? So I'm really going to need to build modular. Over long story short, I'm always going to need to have 1 block between in a wall, so we can make like these wooden corner pillars, to say something like that. Also, another thing that I'm going to need to keep in mind is these houses need to be sorta / is the same space or width, better to say the same width. And then also between I'm going to use these blocks because I'll remove them later on. I'm going to need to have wall space of 2. Not because I am planning on to give the inside a different color, but I want to have the houses like different heights. I don't want them all the same, perfectly the same height. So we add a little bit of differences in that. And I want to build like a couple of houses. I want to build a staircase-wise houses. Let's just say we make the road this wide instead of what I have down there. So it will get a little bit cramped up. But that's sometimes what you see, like cozy stuff. And maybe in the future this will be one of these roads where there's like on both sides of this there will be like a traffic light. Then only one type of traffic can pass, the other one had to wait, and then the light turns green for them. They will pass through here, and these dudes here needs to wait. I mean, it's gonna be a very small village, so it's not gonna be like happy daily traffic of a million people sitting, right? Because if you don't add all kinds of like little roleplay situations or storylines, it's going to look very the same. It's going to look boring, and making up these tiny excuses can shape your area into something beautiful, something organic, something that is realistic. I think it's kind of funny when you play games that are from God's eye view, you often make things look too big. And when you play games that are first person, third person view, it can look quite small once you go up into the sky. And yeah, not to forget, I'm going to change this into a sandy street. And so it's an hour and a half later, which is the cut edit of 2 seconds. The whole street is now into sand, also including a part of this. I will continue this, once it's time to continue. Let's go to the editor. Okay, I've been thinking maybe we are going to add in this corner building here, which will be a store, but I just have to see what I'm exactly going to do if it's about looking into the store. I don't want the store to be like close, but I also don't want to build a whole interior, if you would. So I'm just gonna think of something. So the first thing that I'm going to do right now is lay out a better foundation type of deal. All right, coming up next is make a building, show it to you, make another building and show it to you. I will try to add some variation of this and that to just make it look a little bit different, but in overall it's kind of going to look the same. Might not seem a lot, but it's at least a good start, and or it gives me a better idea of what I want to do in the next part right down here. And the thing is, the reason why this wall here is so blank is because I want to place another farmhouse right out here, so that's why I decided to not put in any windows. And also anything else color wise, I just leave it as it is, because I have changed the color, which it on itself it looks very good, right? But then I start looking at these other buildings that I've been making, and then I'm like, yeah, if I'm now going to change some colors here and there, it's going to look a little bit too different, or maybe better to say out of place compared with the other buildings. So we're just going to keep in mind there are some rules, and in real life there are some rules too, or at least in certain neighborhoods you're basically not allowed to change your house into a certain color. It is here in the Netherlands. I can imagine there are some other places around the world where they also have such a rule, which in most cases these rules do not always count for certain other smaller things. So you're not like allowed to paint the wall in overall. But for an example, you can have like different shutters onto the wall, or maybe paint your door. But wall-wise, you're not allowed to do that, which is kind of understandable, even though it looks kind of cool if everyone just paints its house colorful, right? So in this case, what I would like to do here is make a house that is a bit higher than this one. That's why I've already cut off and kept in mind for the roof. I'm going to say I like 90% of this. The reason for the other 10% is basically the roof. I don't have any space to expand the roof any higher, because for that, these wall here and here needs to be wider. Then I got more space up top, because right now I cannot, have a pointy block in here, because that doesn't exist in this game, or else it would be one higher, which makes it maybe just a little bit better. Yep. And that's the new building, and I've also changed the color design on this, because maybe that was the whole issue. Besides, there is another thing that kind of bothers me, is that I feel like this is way too stretched. I feel like this whole middle section down here should be out of it, and then these parts down here should be connected up to it. Alright, so it is a new day for me. It's Monday. Hopefully it's going to be a wonderful day. One thing I know for sure, I'm finally happy with the end result, also regarding to this building right down here. Yet, still, 100%? Nah, but I do know what the problem is, but I will try to avoid that in the future. I will just explain you more about that in a minute. So I've created 2 extra buildings also right down there, and or I changed this building down here to a little bit bigger type of deal, and or a little bit more fitting towards this down here. Now, first of all, I thought, let's just put a completely wooden building in here, because why not? And it gives a little extra character. I have added like a crane on top for goodies to be transported in here. I'm not sure what's going on in this building. It's definitely mysterious with the bars in the front of the window. Now, this down here will be a toy store, and I've already thought about how I could do this, without having to make a complete full interior. I'm still going to display some goodies, which in this case I left out the windows. Now I got some toys on my ship. I'm not sure how much of how many, right? So I thought, let's just add this in here. Then once I place the building, I can first put some toys in here and then afterwards place in a window. So it's like display it, and I got like a couple of these for a couple of toys. Now for this thing down here, like I've been saying, I'm not 100% happy. And by the way, I've been rebuilding this whole building from the ground up. And I've actually made it into a split home. So one door will be here for this part of the house. And then on the other side, you know, I've just decided let's use this door for this part of the home. Now on the back, it looks just like this. And I do have some plans on, you know, what I want to do with this area in the future. Now the one thing that is going to need to happen still is I need to have like a sign for this toy store. Now I can only build a sign once I have a name. So if you guys have a name for this toy store down here, let me know in the comment section and I will put your store name onto this building. But long story short, what is the problem of this down here? Well, this morning actually all of a sudden I started to think and understand why I'm not completely happy with this. That's basically because this archway is way too wide. Now this might be logic to some people, for others not, like me, need to think a little bit about it. What is the issue here? But let me bring you to something right down here. In our toilet, we have like a plank between in the wall, and we have like a mirror. And what I would like to do is unpack the toilet paper and put it on both sides of the mirror in a tower-ish way. But of course, because it's a big toilet pack, what I would like to do is actually make an archway. So once I am at the top of the mirror, I would like to place some toilet rolls. I do that with two at the same time on this side. And basically I place another two here. Just do the same on the other side. And then the fun will start. Going to place one here, which once again I take two rolls which I put on top, so this one won't fall. Do the same on the other side, just like that. Then I'm going to do the same thing here, so it doesn't fall, right? Then there is place for one in the middle, because the whole structure will lean toward this side, while this whole structure will lean to this side. So this toilet paper in the middle is basically stuck and it works the way it is. This is something that I always like to do. It's just build a sort of an archway. Now what this does is made me think that the spacing between left and right archway should not be too much. It could be only until a certain distance, which right down here, this is basically the same idea. This block here is just as wide, thick and whatnot as this block here. This block here, this block here, this block here. Now, does it look good? It looks very pointy, right? We are limited with this game with what we have. If you make this block wider, it actually starts to look very good, right? I like this, like a nice round archway. If, however, you're gonna make it too wide like this, it starts to look bad. And this is something I'm going to keep in mind for building the castle, because inside the castle will be a lot of archway, right? So then the rule will be, it needs to be at least one block. To make it look nice, it could be 2 blocks, right? And more than that, it starts to look bad. It's basically also down here. This is like 1.5 block for now, but it's not very high up. It's also a thing, if it's like very low to the ground, it starts to look bad. But I'm just gonna take it for right now. It doesn't look as bad as it was before though. Yeah, anyhow, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to blueprint the whole show and drop it down. Which, all honesty on a stick, I already did this last night. Yeah, but yeah, it looks good. I'm absolutely loving it. And yes, there are a couple of things missing out here on this building, like lights and of course the sign. Maybe something at the windows, but I will just do this next time, or between in the episode, better to say. Just add a couple of extra details. I will have to mess around with the ground a little bit. Basically, the ground was a little bit too high, so I had to shovel it out, but what happens if you shovel, it's a little bit too flat. Now I'm going to need to go around with this rake and trying to smoothen it out just a tiny bit more. Alright, so I got a bit of toys down here. It's always just sitting here, so I'm like, you know, why not just use it? So in this case, it's all going to be very simple. We're just going to, you know, grab something here and then, you know, display it just like that. You know, this is not too bad at all. I'm loving it. This is very nice. Now I do wish I had more toys, but this is all I've got, and this is all I have to. Yes, it is still early morning for me. This is all I got, and I just have to deal with it. There we go. All right, I got it all finished, and things start to look very nice. Now I do have to say, I think I want to add in a couple of like incline support type of deal right underneath that ceiling toward the beam. I think that would look very nice. Okay, but for now I've got all the toys filled in. I got some cars and rockets down here, trains. Here I got another couple of these guys, and then I kind of run out of, you know, toy ideas, so I just added in a couple of hats, propeller hat, Santa hat with VR, and you know whatnot, just a little bit for decoration. And of course, once again, if you guys know a nice name for the store and or maybe some excuses to make other buildings, let me know down below in the comment section. Also, add in a store name with the idea. If you have a store idea, everything is welcome. And yeah, I just can't wait to see a lot more of these buildings pop up. I think it will look pretty amazing. Maybe a special tree that we don't see around here just yet. Might look nice. Have like a little bench near it. Maybe a trash can. Did they have trash cans in medieval times? I'm not really sure though. Yeah. It works out well.